After I said I would require a deposit to take me on a date to cover my date preparation costs, I'm now working with an app developer to make this a reality. This is actually happening. We are building the app.
Gynocracy has gone completely insane, guys. We cannot keep doing this. This is absolutely out of control. Modern dating is literally hell for the average guy. It's just not feasible anymore. There's a reason 63% of men under 30 are single, because the game just isn't worth it. Inflation is through the roof. These women think they need to be treated like queens, and they are anything but. It's completely ridiculous. 44% of Gen Z guys have never even had a girlfriend. That's how bad things are right now. You have 4s and 5s on dating apps, getting thousands and thousands of likes, all competing for the same top 10% of men. You're playing a losing game. You have to gesture max out of your mind just to even be on there. I don't know any guy who uses dating apps and has good success on there. You have to cope with the fact that any girl you talk to, one, they're probably leaving you on read because they're talking to 20 other guys. So you have to cope with the fact that you're gesturing for all these girls and there's 100 other dudes in their DMs. It's a humiliation ritual. Modern dating is a humiliation ritual for men. You just have average normal guys and they're completely given up on women. And then if you get married, you're on the hook, right? Just don't even think about having kids. Alimony, what are you going to sign a prenup just as an average guy? I mean, that's insane. But really, these women can take half your things and then you're screwed. And then now if you have a kid with them, okay, now you can finance her life for the next 18 years as she's flexing all the money you send her, dancing with your child support checks on TikTok.
Oh my God, I'm officially divorced! Yes! I'm officially primary custodian of the kids. What about the child support? That's it?
I mean, the entire system is just rigged against men right now. Any guy with an IQ over 80 can see this system is not fair for men. It's a complete gynocracy at this point. They're complete misandrists at 14, 15. They're hating men, kill all men. They hate men.
I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I hate men. I hate them all. Nobody has proven me wrong on this theory.
They're blaming us for all their problems. If a man fails, it's because he's a weak man, right? Everything's his fault. He didn't try hard enough. He didn't work hard enough. But if a woman fails, well, that's a systemic issue. That's the patriarchy, right? And there's zero accountability. Women are taking zero accountability for their failures. They've completely built up this terrible system. We've put women in power, and what did they do? They've started completely destroying the entire systems that men have built. There's a reason you don't see all these matriarchal societies, because they didn't work. Look at South Korea. South Korea is the biggest divided between men and women. The birth rate is so low. They're projected to go extinct with the way their birth rates are right now. Right? And the women are hard left, like rad femme left. It makes the women in the US look like right wingers. They're so far left. It's insane. I think it's like 60 points left. And then if you take women in the US, it's like 30 points. Meanwhile, the men are completely on the other side because it's gotten so ridiculous. It's gotten so insane. And that's exactly where the West is heading to. So these women don't realize you can only push so far. Men have a monopoly on violence. They have a monopoly on defense. Okay? There's a reason you don't have women soldiers. What determines true power? Violence. Who has the army has the power. Whoever controls the guns has the power. Right? So if they want to keep pushing, things are only going to get bad. You can look at China. China is now starting to see their effects of their one-child policy. They have millions and millions of men who are now fleeing to other countries because they have zero chance of finding a woman. If you're not in that top 30 to 40, 50% of men, you have zero chance of finding a woman in your age because they do not exist. So now picture it in the US, where you have all these dating apps and social media. all these women are competing for the top 20% of men. We're seeing in social media and dating apps, they're calling it the harem effect, where 80% of women, fours, fives, they're only swiping right on these nines and tens, total chads. Those are the only people, and they think they're at that same level, right? Because hoflation is completely through the roof. If they were showing women their looks match, and they were like, "Oh my God, no, he's hideous," and they're like, "Well, this is what you would look like as a man." So it's just a massive disconnect, right? Because women have an army of simps. Even your average woman has an army of simps in their DMs, in their likes, hitting them up at any moment's notice. It's just completely skewed. And that's why all these women are cheating. Like, the infidelity is just insane. It's just not worth it if you're a man. I mean, look at family court, how hard a man has to fight. And if you're going against a woman who looks fine on paper, like, you're screwed. She basically has to be a drug addict, deadbeat, just total piece of shit mother if you want to get your kids. And 50-50 means you're lucky if you get them on the weekends. That's it, okay? So you have no control of how your kids are going to be raised, and you have no control of the decisions, and now you're also financing it. So you're on the hook for basically everything. Good luck if you get to see them. The entire system is just pinned against men. Like, the entire system is set up for men to fail. Their native populations are getting completely replaced. The females are so far left. There's a reason people are like, "Oh my God, all these men are turning hard right." This is a reaction to everything that is happening. Men just didn't start turning hard right out of nowhere, okay? Like, I believe Gen Z was the first generation for men where you actually saw a significant spike to the right wing. These things are all a reaction to the way the system is played. I know me, I'm a Gen Z man, so our entire lives we were sold on this idea of gender equality. Gender equality, a woman is just as good as a man, she can do anything. Then we get to an adult and we see it's not equality. What they want is gender supremacy. They fight for equal pay in the job market, and women actually make more than men for the most time. It's a completely feminized culture, a completely feminized job market. They don't want jobs, they don't want these hard labor jobs, right? It's not equality in the oil rigs and construction, hard labor. They're not working in the mines. They want to be police officers, and you see all the time, like, these women are getting completely manhandled, and it's basically a liability, because at the end of the day, these women cannot do these jobs. These are a man's job. A violent criminal psychopath doesn't care about your equality. He's going to kill you. That's it. So, and women have just completely lost their minds. You know, there's nothing attractive about a far left, radical leftist feminist woman. There's just not. We've all these men have seen what society has turned into, and it's the biggest turnoff possible, right? You know, she's probably ran through, you know, she's probably a cheater, right? And if she's not, you know, she has a bunch of friends who are. Women constantly are encouraging their friends to cheat, constantly are encouraging them to make bad decisions, and then they turn 30 and now they're all henpecking these men. Hey, you can't date younger women. That's insane. You know, that's an age gap. You're 28. You can't date a 21-year-old girl. You can't date a 19-year-old girl. She's a child still. And it's like, well, she's not ran through, and she hasn't been indoctrinated to completely hate men yet. So she's actually normal. She still wants kids, and you know, her eggs aren't completely dried up yet. I'm Gen Z. I am in my mid-20s, but I am dating a girl who just turned 20, and I have no problem with that. I think it's insane, you know, thinking that guys have to settle for some girl who had her fun, and now you have to take the leftovers, right? Like, it's just completely ridiculous. The standards are so high. They think, like, you need to be making $1 million, need to be 6'2". It's everybody has access to the top 10% of people in their area, and these women are just completely disconnected from reality, right? They're focusing on their careers, they're focusing on all these things, and then they want to complain and say, "Oh, we're all the good guys." Well, if women are making all the money, guys, they're not going to provide for a woman. Many times a billionaire, a high status man, will marry down and provide and pull a woman up and provide for this woman. A woman is never going to marry down and provide for a man. And people want to say, oh, well, that's just the patriarchal gender norms and gender roles. That's all the patriarchy. That's not the patriarchy, it's just nature, right? Women do not want to be a provider. We're trying to shoehorn these different gender roles, and that's just not how we've evolved, right? Women are not evolved to be attracted to a weaker man, a man who has less than them, a man who cannot provide for her children. That's just not the way women are wired. It's no wonder that men and women have never been more single. And it's hilarious, you have 30% of women claiming they're single in Gen Z, whereas 60% of men are single. These women aren't dating each other. They have such high egos, and they have all these different cope terms where they consider situationships, where there's 3 or 4 of them all sleeping around a chat, and they say, well, I know he didn't commit yet, and I know I can't get him to commit, but I am still sexually active, so I'm not in a relationship, but I am in a situationship, so yeah, I'm not single. No, you're single, right? You are completely single. If 63% of Gen Z men are single, it's got to be like 55% of women, because 5% are lesbians, and I think it's like nothing more than 5 to 10% date outside of their age range. So it's like these are massive numbers. Over half of Gen Z as a whole is single. Like, if the birth rate is already collapsing, it's only getting worse. The gynocracy is not a viable method. You look at all these masculine dominated cultures, and they're coming here and completely taking over, right? It's only a matter of time. Like, there's just no way this feminist agenda and this feminine gender supremacy is a successful winning strategy. You know, things are going to get very violent, very bloody, and there's going to be a serious war. Like, things are heating up all over the globe, and you need to have a very strong and cohesive nation to come out of these situations. Things are going to get very, very bad, right? That saying about what is it? Hard times create strong men, and strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. Yeah, that's exactly where we're at. And right now we're in the weak men create hard times stage, which is never good, right? You look at Rome and the fall of Rome. They never were conquered militarily. They collapsed from the inside out. Look at Canada, look at Ireland. They just had to turn now to foreign legions. It's not like a separate legion. This is their core military. They're opening it up to basically mercenaries, right? Because they have no recruitment. Recruitment is down the drain because men do not want to fight for these countries. Men do not want to fight and die for countries that do not care about them, that put them last. Men are no longer willing to die to defend these countries they were born in, right? These countries their ancestral bloodline is tied to. Men have zero will to fight and die for these countries. These countries are not looking out for these men at all. The entire system is set up for them to fail. They're completely disenfranchised. They're completely isolated. They're single. Wages are stagnant. The cost of living is through the roof. They know they'll never have a family. They have nothing to live and die for. They have nothing to defend. I mean, if you think it's bad in Canada, I think they're at like 40%. The UK is like 20%. There's many places in Europe that are like high teens, low 20s that if people want to defend. I think Germany is like 19%. Like, people have no will to fight and die for these countries. If a serious war popped off, things would not be good at all. So it's just more proof that the gynocracy is a failure. This social experiment where we let women rule and we want it to be equal and fair, well, it turned out it wasn't equality they were after. It was gender supremacy. And they completely stabbed us in the back. and they want to rule us. And not only do they want to rule us, they want to punish us, because every man, every young man is treated as he is born with some original sin for the patriarchy. They're propagandized, and so many women just completely hate men. And now you're starting to get a lot of men that completely hate women, right? They're going from incels to volcels, and they're fine with it. 40% of men have completely checked out of the dating market, probably out of life completely, right? The whole NEET movement, so many men are completely just done. It's over. They don't care. They're done with society and they're checking out because nobody wants to date these vapid, self-absorbed, hypergamous women. That's not attractive. They have nothing going for them. The system is a failure, and all we have to do is look at other places in the East that are farther along than we are in the West, and we can see exactly where we're headed. It's not just going to fix itself. Nature doesn't just find a way. It's going to get very, very bad before it collapses completely, and then it will start to fix itself, right? So that's my rant for today, guys. That's all I got for this video. Make sure to hit the like button if you liked what I had to say. Subscribe. I'm doing multiple videos every week. I'll see you guys in the next one.